The difference between voice acting and what we think of as more traditional types of acting, like stage or film, is that it's a lot harder than the other two. Some people, and I say this to anyone that aspires to be a voice actor because they really want to be an actor, but they're not comfortable with the idea of being on stage or in front of a camera, and so they think, oh, well, voice acting, I can do that. Because they feel it kind of conceals them a little bit and they can still be an actor. It's so hard to voice act if you don't have a background in theater, I feel. Because my background is theater and I did film when I was young as well. But like, acting is hard. I mean, everyone thinks it's easy because we all pretend. Like, as kids, we all pretend. Like, we all played games and we all made noises with our spaceships or our little men or whatever, and like, we all played pretend. The difference between pretend and acting, and I will get back to your point, I swear to God. The difference between playing pretend and acting is that when you're pretending, like when I was a kid, we used to play like Star Wars, and I was always C-3PO, and I was just like, for me, like all I had to do to prepare for the role was like put my elbows out, and now I've become C-3PO, right? Well, the reason, like, you're in a group of friends that have all agreed, like, we're playing this game, so everyone's on your side, so you don't have to, like, you're not trying to sell anyone on the fact that you're C-3PO. They've just assigned you that role, and that's what you're playing. Pretend is easy because you're the only person you have to convince. When you're in front of an audience who is a little harder to convince because maybe they're not on your side or maybe they don't buy you in the role, you have to dip into this level of realism that does not come naturally to most people when you are in your head and conscious of, oh, but I'm not this person, but I have to pretend to be this person, blah, blah, blah. So acting techniques, especially acting workshops and especially stage, helps you kind of embrace characters so that you don't fall out of voice or lose the physical sense of what it's like to be that character. I will totally answer that phone. Mom, we're busy. Like, So the best way not to lose your voice when you're voice acting is to know the character and to be able to really inhabit that character and know that whatever is going on with your voice is just the character's thing. So if your voice cracks, well then that's the character's voice cracking. Thinking of the character primarily as a voice that you do, I think is incorrect. I think it's like trying to say, well, I'm only this character if I'm wearing this color, I'm only this character if I'm this tall, and voice acting is so much more than that. It's kind of like being told, it's like when you perform on stage, let me back up. The famous acting teacher Sandy Meisner once defined acting as living truthfully in imaginary circumstances, right? And the reason it needs to be real is because that's what the audience is riveted to. Like, if it is real and we watch someone that's just having this experience on stage, even if we know you're not really Hamlet, we know there's no such person, but you watch this person on stage playing Hamlet or whoever, and you see them completely swept up in the imaginary reality of what's going on, and you go with them. You can't help it. Even if your conscious brain kind of resists, like, this is fake, it's not real, you get swept up in it emotionally because the actor is swept up in it emotionally. They're not performing, they're being. That's why whenever you see, I think I touched on this yesterday, when you see like an animal on stage in the middle of a play, have you ever been to a play and like an animal comes on and some of the audience completely forgets about all the other actors? The most important thing is that cat or that dog cleaning itself in a corner, even though there could be a murder going on over here, but you're like, oh, puppy. Because animals are so unself-consciously real. They just are who they are. They come out on stage and like, so, there's nothing fake or phony about them, and so you're like, oh, dog. Human mind is riveted to what's real. So, to make it real for you as an actor, if you're on stage or in front of a camera, you have a lot to help you with that task. You have props, costumes, other actors. You've rehearsed. If you're in front of a live audience, the energy of the audience can help put you in that state of mind. And on camera, it's very similar, although sometimes it's a little bit more artificial because you cut and wait for hours to do another take or whatever. But you have a lot of things on hand to help create that imaginary space for you so that it can be real for you and then you can resonate with your audience. When you are in front of a mic, trying to perform a character solely with your voice, it's like being a master carpenter and being told to build a house and all you get is a hammer. Because you have to now distill everything you have available to you as an actor when you're on stage or in front of a camera. You now have none of that. What your body is doing does not translate on mic, but you have to learn how to make it sound like you can't actually be running. Because the mic is over here and the booth is not that big and you can't actually be doing that, but you have to sound like you're really running. So it's this weird technique of learning everything you learned or taking everything you learned in a theater or a film setting and compressing it and communicating your entire being through just your voice. So your voice is no longer just one tool in the entire toolkit to bring that character to life. It is the only tool you have, and it now has to do all the heavy lifting. So, my point is, when you go in, the best way to stay in voice is to stay in character. Know that character, know that person you're playing, feel it. I had many instances where I thought, I'm losing this voice, and I suddenly realized, well, I've been screaming, and this character's been screaming for like 2 minutes, so why am I self-conscious about my voice cracking? He's not thinking about that because he's in the middle of this, horrible thing and he's screaming. He's not worried about his voice. And you just kind of let go of, am I doing it right? Does this sound like me? Because that's the director's job. The director's job is to tell you, oh, you're drifting a little bit, you're drifting, it's getting a little too high or too low or too gravelly or not enough. That's their job. Your job is to just perform and be the character and be as real as possible and let the director and the engineer decide when you're out of voice. And then you maybe take a break for a little while, go home, have some orange juice or whatever. You do have to protect your voice, and it's very important whenever you accept voice work to trust your engineer and your director to take care of your voice, because they, Mike McFarlane, I bring him up again, I've done a lot of really grueling work for him, like Scar. I played Scar in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's tough, because that's not my natural voice. Scar speaks like this. That's hell on the vocal cords. That's like just, your vocal cords are just doing this the whole time, and you get polyps, all kinds of weird things. So Mike was very careful to make sure not to schedule me for more than an hour at a time, so that I would only have to come in and do it an hour, and then my voice could relax for a few days before I came back in. Any director that just wants you to scream straight for like 8 hours is not professional, in my opinion. Does that answer your question at all? I realize I rambled.